Everyone, welcome here. This is Patrick Coble, the World of BUC finance nerd, and one of the board members. And we've got Chris and Freak on here from Parallels, and they're going to do a demo of some of the cool stuff that they've been doing. And it's going to be super fun. So, Chris and Freak, let's rock and roll.
Awesome. Thanks, Patrick. So we're used to these kind of presentations. I'm sure everyone else is. I'm sure Patrick is. We see these slides, we see these demos, and it's kind of PowerPoint, 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 and the kind of message gets lost a little bit. So we thought if we're going to lose the message, we may as well lose the message while we're having a bit of fun, right? And that's what the intention is today. So if nothing else, hopefully you find it entertaining. What we're going to kind of walk through literally is what we've been doing, how we think about the future, and how applications have kind of changed our view on what we're doing about it, and how you guys, as customers and partners and that kind of stuff, how you are having to deal with complexity and how we can help simplify that. But before we do that, just to introduce my colleague, Frake. So, Frake, do you want to give people a little bit of an overview with your square head? That does look like Frake, by the way, even though his camera's in.
Yeah,
It
that's
does,
more
yeah.
lifelike, huh?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Freek Bresson. I'm based in the Netherlands. I'm one of the product managers at Parallels, primarily focusing on Parallels RAS, which is all about application and desktop delivery. Have been in the USA space for a very long time. And yeah, very much looking forward to this session. So hopefully, as Chris mentioned, you're at least going to enjoy what you're about to see. And uh, and it's always great to be able to present together with Chris Marks. So Chris, you want to introduce yourself and kick us off?
Yeah, sure. So conveniently, Frake and I share a job title, so that doesn't need explaining anymore. I've been in end user computing many moons. It's helped me pay my mortgage for a lot of years. So I'm forever thankful of both the UC kind of industry itself and the community. And I help run the EUC forum in the UK. So obviously, I'm totally happy to support the world of EUC and the good work those guys are doing. So congratulations on such a successful community, Patrick.
No problem. Yeah.
So, what we're going to do before we talk about parallel stuff is quite literally, we're going to kind of take a step back because what we're going to look at is how applications have evolved over time. And hopefully, most of you by now have realized we're going to deliver the entire thing live inside Minecraft. So hang on to your hats. This could go wrong. There's nothing as entertaining as a great session. The second most entertaining thing is a session that goes horribly bad. So you're going to get one of them, right? You're going to get one of them. So without further ado, let's make hay, Frank.
Okay. Yeah. So at least I have my sword ready before we're going to enter this this
Oh yeah.
cave here. So let's go.
So the step back we're going to take, guys, is a journey that I'm pretty confident most of you listening will know, right? We're going to go back in time. We're going to go a long, long way back in time. Now, from an IT point of view, this is around 1990. Okay. And in 1990, everything was pretty much the same. You had local applications installed into locations of your choice. Those local applications required a human to actually go and install those things. And then what happened was people started living in working in remote offices. People had requirements that meant, well, local applications are a little bit tricky because I've now got to get into a van with a load of floppy disks in the back of my van, or CDs or DVDs. Most people, I'm sure, will either remember or have heard of these kind of issues where I had to load 125 floppy disks into a computer to install the next version of Microsoft Office, for example. So local applications were kind of their time, and they are still of their time, as we're going to see. But if we just take a next step forwards, so if Frank kind of sidesteps a little bit here, what then happened? I've called it virtual apps. People call it server-based computing, virtual desktops, VDI, this kind of thing. So what was happening with the local apps is the challenge, one of the big security challenges, you can see the y-axis is security control here, One of the big security challenges was all of my data is getting to these machines. So if I'm doing a query from a local application from a desktop computer, the data that my company values so much is getting onto that device. So that then if my device is compromised, it's causing me a massive problem. Okay, it's causing me a big security headache, of which I then need to deal with it with our security team and all this kind of stuff. But it also helped in other ways, right? So it centralized where those applications were, which means there were fewer trips in the van to go and install the applications in all these remote locations. I had all my apps in one place. I could centrally deliver these apps and then away we go. But crucially, it didn't replace the other thing, right? So many companies were in a situation where they had some local apps and they had some virtual apps. Okay. Those size of those bubbles is meant to represent the relative application sizes. And in your organization, they may be different sizes, right? But generally, most organizations do bubbles. They still had to kind of work with that local app stuff as well, even though virtual apps started improving on things. What then started to happen was the advent of kind of web enabled to well anticipated Frake. I was about to say move sideways. Um, what then happened was, the advent of more web enabled tools. Now, obviously there were some false starts here, right? Obviously, some of us have gone down the Java road. Some of us looked at Silverlight. There are lots of things I could talk about that didn't quite work so well. One of the big winners was HTML5, right? So what then happened was a lot of application vendors could see massive benefits in software as a service because software as a service is now subscription. Now I'm not chasing you to renew after 3 years. You got to pay every month. Otherwise, the service turns itself off. From a customer point of view, it started to make it more convenient because it was evergreen. Okay, it made it a bit more simple to consume. Plus, the whole thing could be consumed by a web browser. And again, a lot of apps, it might not be so easy to spot, but a lot of apps um, moved into SaaS. But those two bubbles, local apps and virtual apps, they've got a little bit smaller. The SaaS bubble was got a little bit bigger, but all three of them are still there, right? So we did a survey not so long ago asking people, what proportion of applications everybody uses. No one said 100% of their applications are on-prem, but equally, a very small, about 3% of people said all their apps are in SaaS. The vast majority of people are saying anywhere between 25% and 65% of their applications are now delivered as software as a service. The rest of them are still got an installed capacity in some way. Now, the problem is one of the problems is that by implementing those SaaS solutions on my user's local browser, some of the problems we solved with virtual applications have kind of come back because a lot of vendors, when they deliver a SaaS application, are not completely re-architecting the application. They're just wrapping their existing application so it's compatible with HTML5, so that when I could do the same query I used to do 20 years ago in my new shiny SaaS app, it's still bringing the data to my machine. So that means if that endpoint is compromised, I've now lowered the security of that data relative to if I was delivering it as a virtual app or through VDI or desktop as a service or whatever, right? So this is something we need to think about. So we've got all of these applications. We've gone from local apps to virtual apps. Now we've gone to SaaS. We've got a slightly different problem to solve because the whole thing's in a browser. So how do we solve for that? So if you slide along again, Frank, this is where the advent of browser isolation comes in. So we've kind of had to solve for this twice now. Okay. Local apps solved for it when we virtualized the applications, so we removed the data from the local machine. SaaS apps brought that data back to the local machine. And yes, you could be delivering your SaaS apps into your VDI desktop or your DAS desktop. Of course you could. Okay. But that graph would be much more complicated for me to talk about. What we are going to do is we're going to say, well, okay, this is where browser isolation comes in, right? And what browser isolation is from a Parallels point of view is it's approaching it in exactly the same way we approached installed apps. Take the browser away from the endpoint, deliver the SaaS application into that secure browser, just like we do it with a secure desktop, and then broker that secure browser into the user's normal local browser. So we're not asking the user to do anything different. If they've got Google Chrome, for example, on their local endpoint, they would open Google Chrome, they would open their SaaS application, but kind of unknown to them, one of the tabs inside that Google Chrome browser is actually not a browser at all. It's a picture of a browser, which again is how we used to explain how we did virtual desktops. So this really is the key to what we're about to talk about. It's the fact that we've got customers with things in every single one of these bubbles. Definitely the first three, and number four is becoming more prevalent as this kind of security aspect to SaaS is working its way through. So this is really where we start talking about hybrid apps. Obviously, everything is hybrid these days, right? Hybrid cloud, hybrid work. Now, oh my God, these Parallels guys are talking about hybrid apps. But this is the reality of the situation most organizations are working in. So let's move forward, Frank, and see how we do.
All right.
Yeah, sword. That's it. Good idea. It's dangerous out there.
There's
Gotta
two
be
options.
careful there.
Chris, we could either go all the way back, or should we use this magic door? What do you think?
Oh, come on. That's not even a question, man. A magic door?
Let's do it. So this seems to be a trap, but there's actually a very cool teleport button here that will take us to the actual Parallels world. So
Let's
let's go
go.
ahead and do that.
Awesome. I can tell how long I've been talking. It's gone dark.
Yeah.
So this is the same title slide you guys saw right at the very beginning, except there's a new name on it. Because we didn't want to completely reveal our architecture from a Minecraft point of view at the beginning, we thought we'd need to give this guy a name check because this is the guy that built the vast majority of the world, and that's Kuhn. Kuhn is Frank's son. I don't know if you want to say a few words about Kuhn, Frank.
Yeah, sure. So he's 14 years old and he's completely into Minecraft. So when I pitched this idea with him, he was all excited, and we built this world. He mostly built it, obviously, but I then started adding all of the content in it. We had a lot of fun creating this, and what you just saw, that was only the beginning. So we're going to see much more as we go through the various different Parallels worlds um, in this huge world.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Let's go.
Okay. So let's follow the path here, and it will take us to the first world.
So what we're going to see is how the products work together, the changes we've made in the last 12 months or so, just to kind of show you how stuff works. We're also appreciating some of you may not have come across Parallels before architecturally, so we're gonna kind of level set just a little bit. The first thing we're going to talk about is Parallels RAS. So it's just sheep and sheep bleating at me in the background. So this is that kind of second bubble. So this is taking installed applications, virtualizing them, and securing them, right? So those of you that have used any other end user computing technology will already know this, right? The architecture is pretty much the same. So from a user point of view, you can have an installed client if you want to, or you can use HTML5 browser, all that kind of stuff. Everything in the middle is everything you get in the single license. RAS is a one license product. You license it once and that you get it all. So you could run on AVD, you can run on-prem, you could run a physical PC if that's what you wanted to do. You could run a VDI desktop. Or what we've added this year, bottom right-hand corner, is the ability to run local apps. Now, other vendors have the ability to run apps that are on the user's endpoint as well, but generally what happens is you got to log into your remote session, and then inside that remote session, you then come back to the local app. That is not the approach we've taken. We have treated the Parallels client as the point of access. From that Parallels client, I can directly go into my local apps. I can directly go into my Parallels RAS apps. I can also directly go into all of my other applications that I have. And what that means is, from a user's point of view, or my icons are the same. But from a back-end point of view, my administrator is dealing with all this complexity, all these bubbles, these four bubbles that we showed. They're dealing with applications moving between these bubbles, and yet the user is getting a consistent experience. And we'll show you a little bit about that a little bit later on. But to be honest, everything inside that kind of Parallels RAS blue box, that's if you get a license, that's what you'll be licensed for, and a whole load of other stuff besides. So anything you want to add there, Freight, before we move on?
No, I think you covered it all. So
Awesome.
let's move on.
Okay,
Mhm.
let's go. Wait, what the hell is that?
What's that?
Community hater?
Mm.
What the hell, Freight? Get him! Get him! We don't want
Yeah.
community haters on this webinar. Oh
There
man,
we go.
good job.
That's better.
Good job.
Safety
All right.
first.
Safety first. Yeah. Oh my
Exactly.
God.
Yeah. Let's
Okay,
move
let's
on.
go. So we just thought we'd talk about the architecture of Parallels RAS just a little bit, just to introduce those of you that are not familiar with it, okay? So those that have used other solutions, Citrix, Omnis, or those kind of things, the architecture is very similar, right? Just to walk through it, you have a farm. Inside a farm, you can have multiple sites, okay? And inside there, I've got a high availability load balancer built in. Remember I said this is all in one license. That includes a load balancer. So that would be load balancing that perhaps today might be delivered by Citrix NetScaler, for example. It's focused on just load balancing, so don't misinterpret what I'm saying there. It is not a replacement product like for like, but it focuses load balancing on the task that we want it to do. We've then got a secure gateway, which is like a NetScaler gateway that's running in there. It's also storefront as well, all in that one appliance. That is the security boundary. So that is where your TLS connection, your SSL connection is coming in, being authenticated, and all that kind of good stuff. That's the thing that faces the outside world. Connection broker, this is kind of delivery controller. That's what's making the decision about where to send stuff through. And then you've got the back end, just like you would have in any other UC environment, single session desktops, that's desktop operating system, multi-session desktop, server and desktop as well. If I want multi-session desktop OS, I need AVD in the back end, and we work very, very well sitting on the top of AVD as well. And I've also got physical PCs at the back there as well. So again, it's not night and day. If you already know end user computing, you pretty much already know this architecture. That's what we just wanted to be clear on. So let's go.
Mhm. So before we enter the next world, quick shout out here to the world of UC.
Well, the
Great
VUC, just in case anyone steals this webinar.
We're on the billboard. Big deal.
Yeah, yeah. See, I did say we'd be taking you guys on a journey, right? And this is exactly what we're doing. So now we're in bubble 3 and 4 of that graph. Okay, now we're in, right, okay, we've got SaaS. We've got SaaS and we want to secure it. So just like what Parallels RAS does from an end user computing installed application point of view and delivers me a virtual desktop, what PBI is doing is it's a cloud-based service that I connect to, and that cloud-based service spins up containers, and in those containers is a Chromium browser. That user will, unbeknownst to them, access an instance of that Chromium browser. It's that secure browser that you're in control of, which accesses your SaaS application. The data in that SaaS application, or the response of the SaaS application, comes back to that secured remote browser. And then the output is brokered to the endpoint, right? To the end user's browser. So that means none of that SaaS data is presented, apart from the image itself, which is almost unavoidable, is presented to the user's endpoint. That means the level of security of the endpoint itself is a lot better because there's no corporate data being sent to and from here to that endpoint. The stuff in green is the stuff that if you have an interest in what we're talking about here, I would really like you to try this out, right? So this is a technical preview right now, and this is Parallels browser isolation private access. So rather than Parallels host these containers, we're giving you the ability to use us as a control plane. So from a configuration point of view, you would still log into our portal. But from a delivery point of view, the containers are anywhere you want. So they could be on-prem, they could be in a cloud-based scenario if you wanted to. So rather than us be in control of where that security boundary is with those containers, you are now in control. And it also opens the use case because you're in control, those containers are on your network. You've now opened that use case to internal web applications as well, right? So it might not be a cloud-based service. It might be applications that you've installed on-prem but have got that web front end that you still want to secure in exactly the same way. So just like, as we've said, in-stored applications, what PBI is doing is it's brokering these web connections. And those containers sit on hardened Linux devices, which you can build in private access, or you can access in the traditional kind of dark blue model at the top there. But that's in technical preview. It should be GA kind of next year sometime. If you want to try it out, please drop Frank or I a message, and we can look to get you on that technical preview program. Anything else you want to add there, Frank, or shall we carry on?
Let's carry on with our
Let's
mission.
carry on. Okay. Continue on a bow this time. What? He is expecting trouble. So what we've got is a couple of videos to walk you through, right? This is the administration pane of Parallels browser isolation. It's just kind of showing you how simple the thing is to use. So I set up applications inside PBI, and I can edit them from here. I can also copy the application URL. That will become important later on. So just remember the fact that I could copy that URL for PBI. I put the URL it actually needs to go to. In this case, it's my.parallels.com. I assign it to groups of people. I allow domains of users. I can also attach policy. So policy is security aspects of the PBI application itself, the kind of web application. So I could restrict clipboard. I could say, can they download from here to their local device? Can they print from here to the local device? I could add watermarking. I've had a whole bunch of stuff on here. You're doing a great job of navigating to the right screen, part of the screen, Frank. Well done. Insights is pretty low because I shot this video myself and I was the only one logged in. I didn't really think that bit through. But appliances is key. This is the tech preview bit. So in tech preview currently, we have appliances for Azure, Hyper-V, and ESX. So you would download that image from here. You would then click on the link to the Parallels Browser Isolation Guide. And in that appendix is step-by-step how to use this appliance on a VM on one of those hypervisors or cloud providers, right? And the instructions are separate per hypervisor. You would then finish what you had to do, and then you come back in here and click on the add button, which is exactly what I've done, which is what you can see in there. And if I'm honest, if I can do that, and yeah, you guys can do that, it is really quite straightforward. What happens now is those PBI instances are run from, in my case, that was in Azure, but they're running my Azure tenant. So I've got control. A user would see the applications and I could click on those applications and it would launch them. But I'm going to keep our powder dry just for a minute because we're going to show you a different demo. Because remember, what we said is we're combining all of these things. This is where hybrid apps comes in. I might keep that. I don't know if anyone uses hybrid apps. They probably do.
All right.
So let's move on. So this is really making it come real, right? This is an end user. This is a normal human. This is not an IT person. The top right is the user portal into Parallels RAS. The bottom right is the installed client. In this case, it's inside Windows. Mac OS would look the same, for example. And on the left, you've obviously got desktop icons that the administrator has chosen to supply. Okay. What we're going to do, if you press play, Frank. Have you already pressed play? All right, okay. There's a little bit of a pause in there, so let's wait for it to happen. So what we're going to do first is we're going to show you how we can integrate local apps, okay? Then we're going to extend that to show you how we can run PBI-based apps all from one place, okay? So it's a little blurry, which is one of the impacts of Minecraft, unfortunately. But I'm publishing an application, and when I publish application, one of those options says local device. So I then say next. I then put it in. I'm publishing Excel. I then put the full file path of Excel in. It does accept URIs. So I could do / application name. And if it supports URIs, I don't need to put the executable path in. But I didn't shoot that in the video. It then gives me a URL option to say, well, okay, if the application isn't installed, do you want me to do something else? And yes, I do. I want you to use, in this case, the online version of Excel. I've enabled it. I finished. I click apply. I'm nice and neat. So I'm going to put that new application into a folder called local apps. So my admins know which apps are which. Then I navigate back to my client. And in that client, I just refresh and then Excel magically appears, right? No big deal. But it looks exactly the same as if it was a published application, right? So Word could be right next to it. There could be two Excel icons if you really wanted them. One's remote, one's local. This is opening the user's local Excel file. This is not doing any kind of hairpinning into Parallels RAS. That client is literally being used as an application launcher. Okay. Why? Well, what we want is for an administrator to be able to control which icons the users see. And by adding local applications, I can now control all of those application icons. So if I move how an app is delivered next week, I can keep the icon the same, but the delivery mechanism is different. Now we're going to use local apps to show you how we can do that with PBI. Remember I said we needed to copy the URL from PBI. This is where we would paste it in. So that URL has got an application ID. So that's all that's happening is, so I'm putting the application ID in. I can also, if I want to, force it to use a particular browser. So I could force it to use Chrome if it's available, for example. But it's that application URL that I've copied out of PBI that I'm now using. Now, in this case, I'm logging onto the Azure portal. One of the advantages of the Azure portal is I can also use conditional access policy so that I can force it that if you're not using PBI, you literally cannot access the Azure portal because I can apply conditional access at the top. It's not in this video, but hopefully you can see kind of how it works. Hopefully you can also see I've got some watermarking on there. The user tries to access something that I haven't allowed them to access from that PBI application, and it denies them, as you can see. I haven't allowed the GitHub URL in my PBI application. If I went back into PBI and listed it on one of my allowed domains, then came back, then it would work. Okay. Let's carry on. So this is really the take-home point. The point is that as these new application deliver, apart from the wildlife in the background, as these new application types are arriving, generally for most companies, the older application types are not disappearing completely. We're kind of adding to the complexity for administrators. What we need to try and do is keep life simple for normal humans, for non-IT people. And this is exactly what we're looking at doing here, right? So the icons remain the same, but the complexity is taken care of on behalf of the business users, right? I keep the icon the same. Today, that application is local, but tomorrow I know I'm going to deliver that application through AVD, and that's what I do. The user may never notice. Okay, so this is where we're coming with the power of choice, or the newly labeled hybrid app. Okay, so let's kind of take a different aspect as well. So I'm guessing, and it is a total guess, the majority of people on the session are already kind of EUC folks. They're already UC guys. It's called the world of EUC, for goodness sake. But there's a massive number of organizations out there who are arriving in this EUC world who, frankly, don't want to be there. They want to deliver their desktops, deliver their applications, and get out of Dodge. They perhaps were organizations who were managing laptops, with application delivered direct to the laptops or desktops. And then perhaps the year 2000 hit. I don't have to remind people what happened in year 2000, but there was a lot of remote working going on. Um, and now my business vision is to have those desktops virtually. So DAS is a simplicity message. So let's go, Frake, and let's talk about that a little bit more. So with DAS, it's a kind of a similar picture. You've got user access from a browser, iPhone, whatever you wanted to kind of access it from. I then have I then have a cloud service, which is Parallels DAS, and then it accesses all of my backend stuff, right? Now it's got built-in auto scaling. It's optimized for teams. What do I mean by that? We have installed all the prerequisites that allow a business to run Microsoft Teams. All the business has to do inside Parallels DAS is install Teams. Once they've installed Teams, they don't have to worry about it because remember, these maybe are not EUC guys. These are guys used to dealing with physical PCs. Then they've never dealt with a printer driver blue screening a virtual server for 40 people, and all of a sudden your day's gone really bad. They've never dealt with that stuff, right? So here it's simplicity. Some of the more curious people have probably seen there's a line on the right-hand side here that says it supports Windows 11 multi-session. Okay. There is only one way that anything can support Windows 11 multi-session today. And you may not like it, but that's what we're doing. And that means that Parallels DAS is sitting on top of AVD. Okay. So we're completely simplifying how AVD works, but we're keeping the license model as this kind of per user non-persistent licensing model. So maybe the way for you to kind of think about what we're doing with DAS is we're sitting it between W365 and AVD. Yeah. So Microsoft with the W365 are looking at a per user cost, but it's always on. With AVD, it is kind of non-persistent. It gives the option for non-persistent, but it's perhaps not the simplest thing to use. We are drastically simplifying AVD, making it really easy to use, but keeping that kind of non-persistent kind of feel. That's the idea. Anything you wanted to add there, Frick, before we do a little twirl?
No, I think all good. Let's
Okay,
go
all
to
good.
that multi-session support you talked about.
So this literally is a screenshot of the admin portal. So it looks very similar to the screen we showed before with PBI. You had a golden image, you point at your applications, you assign users. There's some Azure settings you have because this whole thing runs in Azure. I just let you know that it's running Windows multi-session. You can see on the right-hand side, it shows you that it's running Windows multi-session. But that is it. It's focused on simplicity, right? Now, with simplicity means we've had to make some choices for the administrator. Okay, we've had to make some optimization choices for the administrator to allow them to get up to speed, get up and running really quickly. And that's exactly what they can do. In one afternoon, they can deploy the entire solution. Okay. So that's what we want to mention here.
All right.
Now, we've just got one thing left, a couple of things left to do. Frank's going to take over here because he's going to kind of show the power of Minecraft. We're in a work from anywhere world, and Frank is going to show you that we really can work from anywhere. So over to you, Frank.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So at Parallels, when we say, connect and get access to your applications and desktops from any device, from any location, we take that seriously, right? So let's actually do a live demo of accessing some apps and desktops from within this Minecraft world. So this is not a screenshot, right? This is not a video. This is actually the Parallels RAS user portal web client we're now going to log into. So let me just fly towards the screen to be able to actually click sign in here. And we'll see here is an overview of all of the apps and desktops that are assigned to me based on conditional access, based on policies and things that I and my admin have assigned. This is now accessible to me. Should be a familiar view if you're familiar with web-based applications accessed through the Touch and interface. So let's actually open up a sample application to see if that works. So again, I have to fly to it. And let's do Notepad++. So now we're going to log on to this session. In the background, we're going to log on, in this case, to an RDSH server, which is hosted in Azure. And within a couple of seconds, we now have Notepad++, our application running inside Minecraft. So that's pretty cool. And so the other challenge here is that this is all great, but this Notepad application, similar to Word and WordPad, it might require a keyboard, which we don't have here. Well, we actually do. So this is the desk of the end user with an actual keyboard and a chair. So let's see if we can actually get that to work. So I'm going to use my linking tool. I'm going to connect this screen with this keyboard that I have here. And now I can pretend that I'm actually an end user inside Minecraft going to get productive. So now I'm going to use my keyboard. Let me actually zoom in a little bit. You'll probably hear some of the audio here as well. And let's actually use it. So let's say hello world, or should I have said hello world of USC, probably. So that's how that works. So it was a lot of fun to actually see that client being used from within the Minecraft world. So obviously I could, exit from this keyboard and go to the menu again and launch additional apps like Paint or whatever. That all works. So we had a lot of fun preparing that, and hopefully you enjoy seeing that. So that was the end demo that we wanted to show you. But before we maybe open up for Q&A or wrap it up, there's one more thing that we wanted to show you. Let me actually change the time for that and actually set that to night. And the reason for that is we get this nice sunset here in the background, because what we wanted to show you now is the entire world. So we're going to zoom out a little bit so you can see that, yes, this session was brought to you by Parallels. And this is the entire world that mostly my son and I have been building to present this session with the nice sunset in the background. So yeah.
Thanks a lot, Frank. Thanks a lot. So uh, as community events such as the World of EUC give us a little bit of license to do something a bit more imaginative. I hope you've enjoyed it. You will not get to see this kind of presentation at a formal analyst event or something you've paid $8,000 to walk through the door and attend. But we tried to make it more enjoyable than the standard kind of PowerPoint deck. I hope you did find it enjoyable at the very least. Please contact us if you want to try any of this tech preview stuff. We're always happy to help. Just contact us either via the World of EUC Slack channel or email us directly. It will be great to hear from you. Patrick, I don't know if you've got any final words.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is such an epic demo of showing the capabilities and creativity. Because I know at a couple community events that you've been to, you've had PowerPoint shops and talks on how to make PowerPoint and use the morph effect and how to do some really cool things to make your demos feel real when you're doing them, and how you're showing screenshots and stuff like that. This is like a whole nother level, because I mean, it's not even another level, it's a whole nother world, because we're in a whole nother world doing this, which is like blows my mind. It's so cool.
Yeah. I mean, what I would tell you is if you see me at a community event in the future and Frake isn't there at the front, it will not be in Minecraft.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think what's cool too is as we're zoomed out here, if anyone is like actually nerding out and paying attention, like we started way over there by that mountain, and then we got teleported over there to like, I guess maybe that red area. And then we just kind of like walk our paths to each one of those theater screens to do each part, and then to the demo itself, and then back and went to the beach and even came back from the beach, so we went on holiday and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a lot of fun creating this. And so during a couple of trials, the runs that we did, we also noticed that you could also run into heavy weather, like rain and thunderstorms. So that could have also happened. Luckily not today, but yeah, we had a lot of fun preparing and presenting this session
I
together.
think the random sounds also add to it because when you were doing one of the
Yeah,
parts in the woods, that it's like the disappointed chicken sound where it's
yeah,
just, and Chris is making a good point about how you can do anything from anything, literally. And it's like it really didn't care. It wasn't impressed at all about these capabilities. So it's
I
pretty
don't,
awesome.
I don't think that chicken's going to be a customer, Patrick. Just to
I
put
don't
that
think so.
across.
Yeah. Yeah. And the community hater was great too. So we took care of that. But yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Awesome, awesome. We seem to be getting some good feedback in the chat. Thanks if you've enjoyed it. Give us a like and subscribe. Uh,
Click the bell for
yeah,
notifications.
yeah. So yes, so feel free to contact us on the World of EUC Slack channel. We're both in there. If you want to ask us any questions, please feel free.
Yep. Yeah. And so as we wrap up here, I'll swap over here, and it stinks leaving this world and going back to a boring PowerPoint. But that's the nature of the beast here. But make sure you get the most out of here. The World of EUC. Use the website. Use your words. Get on Slack. Integrate and talk to people. And there's always webinars all the time. There's lots of videos, blogs, and podcasts. There's also benefits programs from some vendors along with us and some job search capabilities if you're looking for a job and you're in the EUC space. And I'd probably say the one thing that's not on there is the calendar too, where you can also see like EUC forum events, EUC tech events all over Europe, E2E events, Zenat blog, the whole thing, virtual expos coming up soon too. So there's lots of events in the world of EUC happening outside of the world of EUC organization and colors and logos. So make sure you're plugged in and engaged because I mean you want to get out there and go see some people, shake some hands, eat some food, drink a beer, hang out and learn. And we have to always thank our sponsors here, our founding partners, Tenzig, Goliath, iGel, Liquidware, Omnissa, Nerdio, and Nutanix and Choice Solutions. And then our core sponsors, which is Google and Parallels. And obviously, thank you, Parallels, for helping do this event right now and supporting us. And it was great to have y'all at EUC World when we just had that a couple weeks ago. And it's just been super fun to see. And thank y'all all for attending. And I'm looking at the questions and I don't see anything yet. And Jen's just put the Slack stuff. If you haven't been in Slack, I think the chats are always alive there. So if you feel like you're just searching the Google machine for something going on and not getting anywhere, you should definitely take a look there because there's like real people there that are doing real things. So you'll be good to go. So, but yeah, other than that, thank y'all all so much. And thank you both for presenting and building that little world and demo.
It's been great. Thanks for having us, Patrick.
Thank y'all.
Thanks. Thank you. Bye bye.